Hi, this is Kyra for Liquor and Literature, and today I'm going to be talking about Gillian Flynn's #1 US bestseller novel, Gone Girl. A lot of people have read this book. You might have read this book. If you haven't, someone you know probably has. It was everywhere last year, and it's still getting a ton of press. It's being made into a movie. You start out the novel from the perspective of Nick, whose wife, Amy, has just disappeared. And the way it's written, he never says, obviously to the police and stuff, he's like, oh, I'm not guilty, but he's consistently doing shifty things that kind of make you be like, but maybe he is? And he really reveals himself to be a terrible person. He's been cheating on his wife, he's just kind of a general asshole, he's got just this sort of swarmy personality that just is really unappealing and off-putting. So by the end of the first half, you're kind of like, well, either he did it or he's an asshole, and I don't care if he didn't. And then, spoilers, the big twist is in part 2, you learn that Amy's alive, and she's framing Nick for murdering her because he's an asshole. Which at first you're kind of like, okay, you go, girl, he cheated on you, whatever, he's a dick. Frame him for murder, it's a bit of an overreaction, but whatever. But as it goes along with Amy's narrative, you're like, okay, well, you're a terrible person too. I don't like either of you. The first half I got through really fast because I was hooked. I was like, oh my god, but I'm pretty sure he did it, but did he actually? I need to know more. I read it really fast, but the second part I struggled to get through because by that point I was like, oh, I hate both of you. So I don't really know how this is gonna end, but if it ends well for either one of you, that's gonna suck because you're both terrible human beings. It was worth it for me, the payoff at the end of Gone Girl. I love the ending of this book. I know that the opinions are really divided on the ending of Gone Girl. Some people loved it, some people hated it. Personally, loved it. Amy ends up going to this old guy that she used to date in high school for help. That turns out he actually is really creepy, and it kind of quasi-kidnaps her, is keeping her up at her lake house. So she murders him. She's not very good at proportional reactions to things. So she murders him, and comes back home to Nick and is like, oh, this guy abducted me, I was alive the whole time, Nick did nothing, because Nick's been pretending on the news and stuff that he's really sorry. Meanwhile, his interior monologue, he's like, well, when that bitch gets back, I'm gonna fucking kill her for real, I can't believe she did this to me, blah, 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 but on the news and stuff, he's like, I'm so sorry about cheating, I miss Amy so much, blah, 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 blah. So then she comes back because he's effectively tricked her into thinking that he's actually sorry, which he's not. He hates her now even more than ever. But happily, Amy is a conniving bitch, so she gets pregnant with some sperm of his that she's saved up and been storing secretly away. So she gets pregnant and effectively traps him in their relationship because he's always wanted kids and she hasn't. She's just using it as another manipulative point. And I love this ending because it is so much better than either one of them going to prison or being punished in any way by society, because they're punishing each other. They're both terrible people, and they're both gonna have to spend the rest of their lives being terrible people with each other, and hating each other and manipulating each other and dealing with each other's machinations over their relationship to try and gain control over it. So it's just kind of a fantastic ending because it's fantastic in a really way that's typical of the horror genre or postmodernist novels, where it's just people punishing each other. It's not, the system doesn't punish anyone, it's just punishment by circumstance. The last 20 pages or so I just spent grinning to myself because I was like, oh fuck yeah, this is a great ending. And coming up to that in the third part, I was really nervous because I was like, if either one of these people go to jail, if both of them go to jail, I'm gonna be annoyed. If one of them goes and not the other one, no matter which one it is, I'm gonna be annoyed. But she just has them end up with each other, which is the perfect punishment for both of them because they both hate each other so much and they're both such terrible people, and it's really the perfect punishment. But I do know a lot of people didn't like this book in general and didn't like the ending, and I think I know why. A lot of people, I've heard the complaint a lot that people thought it was trying too hard, which I think a lot of people say that about things with twists. They're trying too hard to surprise you, they're trying too hard to make you be like, oh, what's happening, and use kitschy methods to get you involved rather than actual good writing. Which, considering how hard it was for me to get through the second part, I can understand that, because that was really difficult for me to get through. But for me, the ending redeemed the second part. I can see that for a lot of people, it wasn't worth it. And I mean, personally, I kind of get sucked into things. I pretty much never see the twist coming. If I guessed the twist in your book or whatever, it's a bad twist. I'm sorry, but it is. If I see it coming, it's not good, because I usually just get so wrapped up in things that I'm just like, oh my god, what's going to happen next? I'm so excited. I don't guess things. So, I can see why some people wouldn't like it, in terms of that, in terms of the book overall. I do think her prose is good, her writing style is solid. The other reason that a lot of people didn't like this book is the ending, which I can also see. I mean, personally, I'm a big fan of postmodernist weirdness and horror films and stuff like that. So this kind of ending is kind of perfect for me. Like, I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought it was a perfect way to resolve the situation that she'd set up, where all of her characters were terrible people and none of them deserved a happy ending. And I thought that was the perfect way to end it. But I can see people who don't really see that the same way being unsatisfied with that, because they didn't get punished in any traditional sense. Neither of them went to prison or died or whatever people wanted them to be punished by. Like, their punishment was their freedom, but their freedom to be trapped with each other. So I can see why people didn't like it. Personally, loved it. Loved the ending. I heard that they are rewriting the ending for the movie, which is extremely disappointing for me, because, like I said, loved the ending. So, that is Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. I really recommend it if you haven't read it. If you haven't read it and still watch this video, sorry for the spoilers. But it is a great book. I really enjoyed it. Well worth the read. If you can get through the second part, it might be a bit of a struggle, but it is really worth it. It's a great book, and I really recommend it. There's a reason that everyone and their mother has read it. So that's me for today. Hopefully Melissa will be back on Friday if master's degree stuff doesn't overwhelm her again. Alright, see you guys later. Bye.